Hello, class. I wanted to go over a conversion problem with a word problem here and just talk a little bit about strategy on setting these up, things like that. So you're given that this is a swim race, 22.5 miles. So that's the initial value that you're going to try to convert. And it gives you some information. Race officials want to mark the course every 600 yards with a buoy, including one at the finish line. And it says the starting line doesn't get one. How many do we need? Okay, so we're going to use conversions they're already giving us. So they're giving us ones to work with. And then we have a little multiplication at the end to get our answer. We have a little calculator here we can use. You can use Excel, something like that, whatever's easier for you. So let's go ahead and look at this one. So we're starting with miles and we're trying to get to how many buoys we need. So we need to convert, and we eventually need to get to an end where we have buoys in the numerator for our final there. So let's look at what our options are. So there's only so many options, so we might as well look at what we have. So we have 22.5 miles, and we're going to convert that. So that means we need a miles in the denominator, so that it'll cancel out, and something in the numerator that will be beneficial for us. So let's see what our options are for miles in the denominator. So there's only one option. So this option takes us from miles to feet. We're trying to get to yards eventually. So hopefully maybe there's that connection there that, well, if we're in feet, then we can go from feet to yards. So we're going to use this one, 5,280 feet per 1 mile. And again, the reason that I'm using that one is I want this miles in the numerator to cancel with miles in the denominator and get me closer to yards. So it doesn't get me all the way to yards, but it's get me there. And then we'll get to buoys. So now think of this as our miles are canceled out. We're left with feet. So the next one here, we want feet in the denominator and hope to get closer to the yards and then to the buoys. So let's see what options we have with feet in the denominator. So I have 1 yard is 3 feet. So that's good, right? That would get us to yards. That's what we're trying to get to there for the next step. And the feets would cancel. And I also have 1 mile per 5,280 feet. Again, it's in the denominator. Good, that would cancel, but that would take me back to miles. And I don't want to go back to miles. I'm trying to get to yards and then to buoys. So my option here is the 1 yard per 3 feet. Okay. So my miles are gone. My feet are gone. I'm now in yards. And the last thing to do is to get to buoys. So again, I'm going to look for a ratio here where the yards are in the denominator and buoys is left in the numerator to get me to my final answer. So here's yards and buoys, but see how it's backwards. I would end up with yards on top. Yards times yard would give me yards squared per buoy. So I don't want that. Here's 1 buoy per 600 yards. Okay, so there's that yards on the bottom. That's what I'm looking for. And I'm getting to buoy, so that's a good one. We have another yards on the bottom, but that would take us back to feet. We don't want to go back to feet. We're at yards. We want to take that last step to buoys. So we have our miles will cancel. That's good. We have our feet will cancel. That's good. We have our yards will cancel. That's good. And we're left with just how many buoys we need. So let's go ahead and do this calculation. So we're just going to multiply our 4 values here. So the first one is 22.5 times the 5,280 is in the numerator. So we can just multiply those. And we can hit enter if you want to get the answer for that. Now the next one is I can multiply by 1/3, or I can just divide it by 3. So I'm just going to divide by 3 and see where we're at. And then again, the next one, we have the yards 600 in the denominator. So again, we can multiply by 1/600 or divide by 600. and we end up with 66 buoys. Okay, and we hit check our answer. There we go. So take your time, set up the ratios so that you can see them cancel and work your way through. All right, I hope that was helpful for you.